committed on providing accurate information by just one click through our social media platforms. You can now follow our Facebook page at GBN Television, together with our sister stations Classic FM Grenada and Hot FM Grenada. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Grenada Broadcasting Network. They say one picture is worth 1,000 words. Now you have the opportunity to follow us on Instagram at GBN_news and our newly added WhatsApp feature to our news and current affairs department on telephone number 473-405-3052. GBN, with you, anywhere, everywhere.
So the time for fetting and having fun is here, but that doesn't mean you have to be an irresponsible parent as you go about it. This carnival season, you can make a difference by keeping a watchful eye on your children, knowing where they are and whom they're with, ensuring they attend age-appropriate events, making sure they're not exposed to dangerous situations or activities involving drugs, alcohol, or sex, and of course, leading by example. Remember, even though it's carnival, your first responsibility is to your child. A message from the Child Protection Authority of Grenada, working in the best interest for the greatest good of the child.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Well, it's Thursday, the Eve of Friday, as I like to call it, Friday Eve. And I'm blessed this morning, to have some, wonderful people around me. God, no, I need the extra good energy this morning. So, Grenada, we are getting ready for a very momentous occasion. Groundbreaking in performance theater. The Heritage Theater Company, of course, established in November 1999. And of course, they are living up to their mission statement to be an instrument for creativity and a medium for entertainment, education, and social development in Grenada. And their motto, striving for excellence at all times. 42 full-length productions, 20 comedy productions, that you know this one here very well for. And of course, they are on the journey to 30 years. But before they get there, they had to stop for us to take a serious look. A serious look at who we are and just what we are made of. And one of them, of course, is the history, that time in history of Julian Fedor. A full-length historical drama written and directed by none other than the man himself, Christopher Derriggs. Good morning, Kojo. And of course, Fedor is a Grenadian folk hero. In March 1795, he was a French mulatto plantation owner, and his rebel colleagues rallied Grenada's slave population in a revolution against British rule on the island. Lots and lots of folklore, if you will, exist about Fedor and what happened, especially what happened in the end. But bringing to the stage the story of Julian Fedor, Heritage Theatre, and this morning with us is none other than Mr. Robert White and Mr. Samuel Ogilvie, both great actors and members of Heritage Theatre Company. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, man. Morning, Brenda.
What do they? Can't get it on? What happened?
No, I was just giving my son here the opportunity to say good morning before I come in as a daddy.
Did I do it good, Daddy?
Yeah, you did. Good morning to your listeners as well. To Classic, and those within not just locally but regionally and internationally, because we know you got a very, very wide audience.
Indeed. So I see you say that you're marching to 30. What's going on?
Well, it has been a while, you know. Brenda, when I started theater, I was younger. Yeah. And I did not have any gray hairs. Now I'm young, a drop of the ER, right? And there has been some gray hairs that have shown themselves, and it has been 30 exciting years, I must say that. Yeah. 30 exciting years. Theater has taken me to places externally and in that I cherish. And I want to make that point again, externally and internally. I've been on stages in Grenada, St. Vincent, Trinidad, Barbados, further away to Aruba, went to Cuba, the US, Holland. I've been around some places. And it has always been a joy to, one, show your craft outside, but to represent Grenada, because no matter who we are when we're here, when we go out, we represent Grenada.
Absolutely.
And we always get, people seem to be fascinated by the work that we do. Right, the talent and skill, and they ask you, which university you studied at, and sometimes I'm embarrassed to say, well, the University of Life. Which one is that?
That's a good point,
yes.
Because we do so many things by air.
Yes. And then, so that's externally, and internally. When you prepare for a character, and having played so many different types of characters, what it takes to go in to find that person that you need to bring out, it's very interesting. And not sometimes yourself has to die for that character that you're portraying to come out. So you must go inside and kill that Robert White, that who you are, because you cannot be Robert White every time you're on stage. After that, that gets boring. And there must be believability. So people must see a character. If you're a police, and you are a rough police, you must be the most badass police in town, right? Because people has to believe you.
Yes.
Even if you've saw the 10 or 15 moments on stage, people has to believe you.
That's right.
Right? So I enjoy it. This 30 years has been 30 of my best years. At this stage now, I'll do it again better. But
and you got a national award 2 years ago.
Yes, I did.
Yes,
I did. And that, Brenda, is one of my most prized trophy. I've gotten awards
here. You got very emotional.
Yes. I've gotten awards here, there, and everywhere for a little thing that I do. I don't show them off. But that national award, and this was my second national award. I got an Independence Award one time for acting again too. But this particular one, I don't know, it's dear to my heart. It is dear. Every time I look at it, the feeling that I get is as though I've just been handed the award. Every time I look at it. And I really, I'm appreciative of the fact that there is this recognition. You don't go searching for recognition, Samuel, I'm sure not. But you're happy when people say, I like what you do. And I think, we'd like to set you among the persons who we want to single out for some form of recognition. That feels good. Especially from your country. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Samuel Ogilvie, seeing you on stage, the elusive Samuel Ogilvie. As Robert said, you really get into character and everything. You're so passionate in your acting and everything. So just tell us a little bit more about, what did the stage find you? Did you find the stage? How did it happen?
one of my earliest memories growing up was actually putting on a community show for my neighborhood back in Jamaica. Spoiler alert, I'm born in Jamaica.
That's all right. Grenadian descent.
Yes, I've lived here since I was 6 years
Still
old.
Grenadian.
Oh yeah. And I'm more Grenadian than
Are we
anything else.
happy to share you with Jamaica?
I appreciate
We
that.
love Jamaica.
Yeah. Blah, blah. But funny enough, I don't think I do well in front of large crowds. But being on stage, it was a test for me, really. My first professional acting debut was back in 2007, and it was kind of a trial by fire because we were traveling to St. Kitts with Francis Rice Peters. That was Shattered Expectations, and it was kind of my first foray into that kind of thing. And I took it as a challenge because, again, I don't get too comfortable when too many eyes are on me. But what I find helps with stage work is that you don't have to focus on the audience. You're living in the moment of what is scripted for you.
Interesting.
So you keep your contact with your cast members. You're just living truthfully. Of course, you go hear the laughter and so every now and then.
Right.
But I've gone back to it. I mean, I guess I'm not that scared as I thought. And so I'd say it's kind of been in my blood. Apparently, my grandfather on my mother's side wrote a lot of plays, and so back in Jamaica. And unfortunately, those have been lost to time. There weren't computers and stuff to save these things on. And it's a big regret on the family side, but it's there. And I feel like it's good for me not to try and, as Robert said, bring myself too much into it. I have to find the character, find their motivation, and just try and deliver as authentic an experience as possible when I'm on stage.
Right. So this historical is a full-length historical drama, Julian Fedor. Of course, you'll be doing it for 3 weekends.
2 weekends. We anticipate. We anticipate it should be it's 2 weekends started, but we anticipate there may be. I'm not promising.
Right.
But
okay.
there's a feeling that based on the response we're getting with this production, there just might be a need for an extended run. But as of now, it's not a promise.
Right.
No.
All of us lovers of history and students of history and Grenadians in general, we are very intrigued by the story of Julian Fedor. I mean, what led your company to look at this I would say this is really serious social and historical work by your company. And I mean, Fedor, you just can't use the name Fedor and get on stage because there's so many unknowns, and because you have to be almost true to history, then I'm sure there's a lot of work in it. But what led you to that? What led your company to this?
Well, first and foremost, we pride ourselves in the fact that we tell Grenadian stories, our stories.
Right.
For the most part, it has been our stories from a fictional standpoint, but stories that we can relate to about us. Even when we be it full-length drama or comedy, the module is pretty much the same.
Right.
Fedor fits into that kind of thrust. The only difference is it's now a historical drama. It is actually a true story that forms part of our history. Well, true story in the sense of Fedor is part of our history.
Right.
It is interesting and challenging. Interesting because there's so many stories we heard about Fedor.
Yeah.
Right?
Still
and,
here.
he started as the first revolutionary, and Grenada, of course, is a country that has had many revolutions. Our last revolution was in 1979, but prior to that, the era in 51, with Gary's intervention, can be considered a revolution in itself.
Absolutely. The biggest social revolution.
That's correct. But prior to that, we had Fedor.
1795.
And not many people know about Fedor. As a matter of fact, the photo that we have of Fedor that is accepted as the face of Julian Fedor is one that was crafted from the mindset of that guy, Mophead, Donnellan.
Okay.
And is accepted nationally as a representation of Fedo. Accurate or not, this is Fedo. That's who we accept
That's
as
what we
Fedo.
see everywhere. Yeah.
Because to bring that story to life, we have to accept certain things. One of which is we have to put a face to Fedo. Not we as in heritage, but in terms of from a Grenadian perspective, we must associate how the man looked. And Moped came up with this design, and people say, that's it. All right? So, as of now, Fedo has a face. Right? But there's so many other things about Fedo that we know that we have discovered through research. Right? Chris has done extensive research on his own and has actually gone to persons who themselves have done research.
Yeah.
One person that comes to mind here is Jacob. Dr. Jacob,
yeah.
who himself is an authority. If there's one person who's an authority on Fedo, right, who you could wake up any hour of any time of the day or night and ask a question of Fedo and get a credible response, is Dr. Jacob.
That's true. He's
and
done
he was
a lot of work.
He was engaged in this journey as well. So Chris's own research, in conjunction with that of Dr. Jacob, who we say is a very credible source of information, has led to this story being now created. But after you get the information, you still have to design a story, because you can't just push facts down people's throat.
Right. So,
you know, I mean,
so it needs to be a fictional account.
So, you know, you need to get back stories.
That's right.
What type of person was Fedo? Yes, he was a revolutionary.
What was happening in Grenada in 1795?
That's true. It must go in context. Right? Was Fedo a sociable guy? I mean, what about honor among, you know, they say something, honor among thieves? But was he that kind of person? How did he treat his second in command? Or did he have a second in command? How did he treat them? Right? Did he have any was he married? Did he have children? How did he relate to his wife?
Right.
All of these are now the backstory that you may not have gotten in from the history book or the research, but you have to make something credible and palatable, so that when it's on stage, people leave their feeling, well, yeah, this makes sense.
Right. Because there are that's a very respectful way to treat it, because there are so many unknowns.
That's correct.
About the whole Julian Fedo. I mean, Dr. Curtis Jacob is basically an authority on Fedo through all his work, because, I mean, you don't fall asleep and read a book and say what and what. He did extensive work. So he is an authority on it. But there's so many things that's, you know, we're still trying to piece together and all of that. So the fiction, and of course you gel in some of the facts in there, and you make it, a story.
Yes, and I think it's consistent to it.
With characters.
The characters one, but I want to make an association in terms of Chris's work and maybe his time, meaning that where he has gotten to at this point in his career. Last year we did Breaking Out, and Breaking Out, while a love story in and of itself, spoke to there are some Grenadian truths in it. Right? So, to one who really knows Grenada history and the experience of persons who would have been incarcerated after the 83 situation in Grenada, would know that the story that we did would have reflected in some ways, and to a large extent, some of the experiences of persons.
Yeah, that's very
relationships. That's correct.
Very relatable. Yeah.
So that again is another Grenadian story, historical. It's probably more recent in terms of historical time period.
We need to tell some more of those.
We need to tell our stories.
If that's the only way we can do it.
We need to tell our stories.
Because people write books and people say, oh, that's just their account. But books are credible. And even if it's just their account, it is part of the history. And we have to be open to all books.
That is correct.
You know, and so I think one of the theater, the way you guys are tackling it really, and I think it touches more people.
Yes.
Because 60 of us may buy a book.
Yeah.
But over 10,000 people would see a play over a period of time. You see? So you're touching...
And they get a chance to live in the moment.
Yes.
Because when you read a book, yes, the characters are there, but you need to see them in your mind. And if the author is really, really good, he can paint those pictures with the words.
Yeah.
Now, the stage writer does a similar thing, But the added advantage is that the story is brought to life now with persons on stage.
Right.
So you can see this gentleman here and see Fedor, right? It may not be the same face as the face that we have gotten accustomed to seeing as Fedor, but he does a credible job, and you believe him. The whole issue of believability comes back here again. So that's why the drama on stage is probably a little more powerful than the book, because you have characters that carry the story, and you are living the moment with them, as opposed to your home just reading a book.
But the thing is, it's more work to write, Sam, because the whole adaptation for the stage.
Sure.
And I mean, the kind of research that you've alluded to, that you guys went into, and you know what your director envisioned when he wanted to do this thing. You just can't decide on doing this and just write it. You have to really step out and work.
The due diligence.
A number of things had to come together, and there are decisions that had to be made. For example, the inclusion of first and foremost, this is a story about French people. They have a certain ethnicity, all right? There's mulatto, right? No, we can't change that.
No.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
So to do a credible representation on stage, you either get people who look like that, or you paint up some other persons.
Yeah.
The painting could be credible, but still not as credible as the real person. But now you need to look within your own and ask, well, do we have those characters within our own in terms of membership or heritage? The answer was no, we didn't. We couldn't do that production just with heritage members. So we had to co-op other persons. Enter Sam, right? Very credible and fit well within the heritage structure.
Yeah, Sam would be anybody and his story.
And I would mention Sam because I have Sam here. But some of the other names that are in this production, I will hold it now, just for, if only for intrigue. I will not divulge them. But just as we are doing with Sam, who is one of the characters, we are in the weeks coming are going to expose some of the other characters. Right? And Grenada, you'll be amazed at who we got to go on stage.
Good.
That to me is another coup in itself.
I see what you did there.
That's the vision of the man called Joe, I guess.
Oh yes. Yeah. Some people are challenged. Some of the persons we have, they are going on stage for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking people who are in the way past 50, some probably bordering 60, and maybe even a little later in their life. And they are getting a chance to go on stage for the first time.
But that's good. It means you're learning something new.
Doing well.
Good.
Grenada, you'll be in for a treat when you see the skill that we are seeing, that probably have been latent in some people, and it's coming out now, and coming out with flair and pomp and credibility. Yeah.
We look forward to that.
Yes.
So the first performance is when?
The 28th of March. It's the last weekend in March, 28th and 29th. That's Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And then the following weekend, April 4th and 5th. So tickets are $40, and we have to say thanks to the sponsors who have enabled this, because it's a big budget to undertake this kind of thing. And Co-op Bank, GBN, of course. We've had some involvement from the Ministry of Culture, so we are very grateful to all of these people, and so much more. I mean, you got the list.
Sam, you see this so much more thing?
That's why you're here, sir.
So for now, what Sam mentioned, GBN, Co-op Bank, and I just must mention here, for what it's worth, the Co-op Bank relationship. Grenada Cooperative Bank has, last year, I mean, people assist. There have been sponsors over the years who assist you, time to time on a particular production. Co-op Bank came forth with a decision to assist us with equipment that would put us on par with any equipment being used in any serious theater production internationally.
Wow.
The quality of equipment that they gave to us, microphones, right, is on par with anything. It's the best.
Audio is important in those.
Of course.
Audio is very.
It's the best.
Audio is really important in those productions.
And we didn't go asking for it. That's the interesting thing. They called us and said, listen, we want to do something for Heritage specifically, well, not just Heritage, but they chose another theatre company as well. And this would allow us to do something to the theatre companies and do something to the national performance scene. Because I can tell you, as you mentioned, audio is very important. And with that assistance, we are able now to be, even you could stay on stage in the back and whisper, and it will be very, very clear to the audience. Right? So having used it, I think, a couple of times, the Trade Center, the Trade Center is long, and it's a primary performance venue for a lot of reasons. And one of the problems we have had is how do you properly amplify that sound?
Right,
so if, people right at the back of the hair.
Right.
And we have really aced it with the equipment we got from Coa Bank. So I just wanted to mention this. They are a sponsor here, but that I don't know if we would have actually came forward and really said that before in an order for Home Pride Bakery. They really baked up a very good sponsorship. I thank them to True Blue Inn, Ross Fielding and Company, Special with Shredders. They too assisted well. They put rubber to the wheel.
Nice. Nice.
Bryden and Miners.
See what you did there.
Bryden and Miners, and of course the Trade Center. We can't survive, and that's why I said for reasons the Trade Center is a sponsor. We can't survive without the Trade Center. There was a time in our existence when we had our own office space, we had our own studio, right? Hurricane Ivan hit us a really bad blow, mashed up all that, and kind of set us back quite a few years. And the Trade Center with open arms welcome us. We rehearsed that there. I mean, anytime, any day, anyhow, we don't have to call video, we just go and do what we want. I mean, it's a relationship that is so good that we can't help but mention that we just couldn't exist without the Trade Center. We want to say a special thanks to all our sponsors. And for now, I think we still have a couple other people in Ministry of Culture. You did mention them, Sam, but I want to say that the Ministry of Culture, after a conversation with the minister, and so they came through really, I mean, sometimes you knock the government, and I'm not being political here, but just saying generally, if you can get some information, go, they're supporting this, they're supporting that, and maybe sometimes you're right. This time around, though, we can't say anything but thank you, a heartfelt thank you to the Minister of Culture and the Ministry in conjunction with the Ministry of Education, because we have gotten some well, not financial or otherwise, but sanctioning, because we want to take this to the schools as well and get the children involved, give them an opportunity to see the production, and we got some assistance from them to.
Great. I was about to ask about how you're going to morph the schools into this, because this is a story that they need to.
Of course.
They need, right.
Of course.
Wonderful. I'm happy to hear that. So
the schools have gotten instructions from the Ministry of Education to support this, and we got the blessings from the minister, so it has trickled down to directives to the schools and so.
Lovely.
Yeah.
All right. So this is truly a national effort to bring this production to the stage.
Yes, it has been. I mean, and we're getting a response in a way that is unprecedented. I think the story, what it is.
There's so much interest and intrigue. I tell you, I mean.
And as we mentioned the story, Brenda, I think it's time for us to, we get so sweet and we speak around it, but we haven't mentioned, what role we actually play in the production.
I was just going to tell Ollie goodbye.
No, you can't tell us that yet.
But Ollie coming next week again.
Well, yeah, but at least we have Sam here.
Yes, what role?
Right?
Yes.
And I'd like Sam, to give Sam an opportunity to explain to the studio audience and the wider audience what his role is.
Yes.
Sure. So the name of the play is Julien Fedon, and I am he.
Sometimes I feel
there you go.
He is me.
He is me and I am him on March 28th and 29th and during rehearsals. But basically, this is my story, but it also gives the backstory that is lesser known. Again, his family situation, how he would have grown up, why he decided to seek allies with among the 28,000 slaves that were in Grenada, and he eventually got 14,000 to fight for him. And it's a journey, I'm hoping that through my performance you'll see the evolution of maybe a sort of naive nationalistic approach for the Republic of France, because again, during this time an official state of war existed between Great Britain and France, and this is very intertwined into the history of Grenada, why we have so much French names for locations, and why we still have French colloquialisms in our everyday speech even up to today.
Bon Dieu, you know that?
What do you mean? I've been living here long enough, bro.
Papa Bon Dieu.
Yeah, we? And, you know, the circumstances that would have forced him almost to have to become this leader that was trying to fight for people's rights. You know, he was born here. French domination of Grenada had been there for a couple of years, well, before Britain came in and tried to take things over. And, you know, I think it's a struggle that a lot of people can relate to, whether they feel beset upon by circumstances or world events. But that feeling of being a second-class citizen in their own, and the fight to try and regain some semblance of dignity
and
about it.
And power to fight for what that. Exactly. One of the most interesting things about Fedor is that we just say 1795, the Fedor Rebellion, but it was more than 12 months. It was around 14 or 15 months.
15.
Yeah.
15 months.
It went on for a while. The man had stripes. The man had ranks. The man had the place locked down.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, as you said earlier, over 14,000, you know, got the Africans to, the slaves to move with him.
That's right.
And to see the vision and to see what he wanted. Because like him, they too felt, you know, marginalized, you know. And it was, to be honest, it's so many gaps. 15 months is a long time. A lot of things happen, Robert.
It is my opinion, and I think I'm qualified to give an opinion here, that the only reason why the British eventually got to Fedor to submit is because they had a superior arsenal. Right? If Fedor had what the British had, the story would have been written different. The script would have flipped. Right? Because as he indicated, Fedor had the support of his slaves. And I mean, 14,000 people supporting you in the hills in warfare. It's a lot of power like that. I mean, knowing the terrain and all of that, but I think the story would have been different if he had the arsenal. He could have asked me. I mean, I would have been happy to send some things support the cause.
Mr. White.
and he was predominantly in the areas of his St. Mark, that area on the top.
Yeah, St. John, Belvedere Hills, that area.
Belvedere really was his.
That was his
stomping ground. Stomping ground. He mastered.
Was the property ever his?
Yes.
Actually, Fedor
bought it from John Campbell, I believe.
Right.
There's some historical
documents. Yes. Remember seeing that. Belvedere was his.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah. I believe in the research that I read, they said that he captured every place except St. George.
Yes.
And that was maybe the thing, because St. George was the capital.
See what I tell you, the man had ranks.
Yeah.
The man had ranks. He moved through the place.
Yeah.
Stomped through the
So he may have made some strategic errors eventually that would have undermined his position. But for the time that he, I suppose they had the element of surprise. Who knows? The play will answer some of those questions.
Right.
Come see it. See it.
So we're going to see the revolutionaries, the of course the planters and the English and so on. They must be represented, and French and everybody else, and that'll be exciting.
Oh yeah.
The costuming.
Yeah.
Yes, I say to agree that you don't want to miss this.
Okay.
I am excited about.
Did you have a special person to work on your costumes?
We actually had to do really research as well.
Okay, right.
And we actually decided eventually to import.
Okay.
Yeah, import.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're when you will be transported, put it this way, you will be transported back to the 1700s. You will be transported back. We can't do the story any other way.
Yeah.
Right? And that's another very interesting feature about this You know.
1795. That would have been that was how Grenada looked.
Well, of course.
Yeah, so
of
you
course,
have
of
to
course.
you have to be true to that. Yep. So before I let you gentlemen leave and take my next guest, I know you'll be back here because
We will
spending some time on this as we get people out. It's just very important as well, the discussion, and to just for us to all these things are identification markers, you know, of who we are and what we really should be, you know, understanding about us. And the best way to do so is from history.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. Major kudos on this, man.
Thank you.
As a Jamaican say, big up on ourselves.
Yeah, man.
Large up.
Rap.
Hey. You said it.
Respect and manners.
Nah. Yeah. Enough respect.
Tell you.
Enough respect. Enough respect.
Well, thanks again. It's always a pleasure to come here with you.
Likewise. I'm sorry
Yeah,
I
share
was
some
coughing. It's just a cough. No seeing nothing. It's just a...
No,
Yes.
C's cough. Even up here about C's cough.
Let's with some vitamins.
Yeah.
As I know what's going on in my throat, I don't even have the cold. I don't know what it is. It's weird. But maybe my next guest might be able to help me with what it is.
Is a doctor?
Well, yes.
Okay.
She is.
Doc, walk with 2 injections, please.
No, she give an injection. She didn't tell me what food I need to take. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, Brenda.
We've been speaking with these great gentlemen. Of course, Robert White. Robert, you're the president? You're the vice president?
No, I'm the president of Heritage Theatre Company.
Right.
I'm also Pierre Fedor in the production.
That's my daddy.
Julian's daddy.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
talk more. Oh, that's interesting. So we talk more about that
Yes, next time,
around. Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking here with Robert White, he's the president of Heritage Theatre Company and, of course, acclaimed Grenadian actor, Academy Award winning, Nutmeg Award winning Robert White. And of equal acclaim, Samuel Ogilvy. And they've been here on behalf of Heritage Theatre Company as they put on the drama Julian Fedor. Don't miss it. Go out and get your tickets today. You don't want to see or hear, you want to see. Yeah? We take a break. We'll be right back.
Zika, chikungunya, and dengue are all spread by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Protect yourself. Wear clothes that fully cover your body. Use insect repellent spray or ban. Some of them are really cool. Cover empty soda bottles and dispose of them properly. Juice boxes, wrappers, and soda cans too. And cover any container that can collect water. Remember, mosquitoes like to hide in dark, messy places, so keep your rooms tidy as well. Clean up, prevent, protect.
Hey, what happened to you? Your husband beat you up again? All under your eyes swell up, all your jaw swell, even your mouth.
I tell you, chikungunya.
Listen, you don't have to be afraid to report the matter, you know.
I tell you, chikungunya. I catch it for 7 times.
All right, watch. Talk to a counselor, or better yet, walk away. You're not guilty of anything. You are the victim here.
Domestic violence would not go away if victims do not walk away or refuse to speak out. It is a cycle that goes on and gets worse and worse over time. Break the silence and begin the road to getting your life back and living without violence.
part of our social media revamp, the GBN is committed on providing accurate information by just one click through our social media platforms. You can now follow our Facebook page at GBN Television, together with our sister stations Classic FM Grenada and Hot FM Grenada. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Grenada Broadcasting Network. They say one picture is worth 1,000 words. Now you have the opportunity to follow us on Instagram at GBN_news and our newly added WhatsApp feature to our news and current affairs department on telephone number 473-405-3052. GBN, with you, anywhere, everywhere.
See it first on GBN. All the stories, from politics to industrial unrest. Tourism. Light it up. Light it up.
Nation to Grenada.
Entertainment. Sports and culture.
Great shot there of Anderson Peter from Grenada, the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist.
See more on GBN, your most credible source for information. Nightly at 7.
Wait to see my granddaughter.
Stomp out careless or intentional bushfires, dead out. Youths, hunters, smokers, let's prevent bushfires. Here's why.
Yeah, bushfires. The shoreline's wet, crops should be bushfires. Can't eat the food, scarcity, threatened biodiversity, cause water shortage, water calamity. Bushfires in watersheds deplete water quality, threaten property, life and security. Bushfires set intentionally, water sanity.
Bushfires can cost millions in losses annually and are often caused by careless or intentional actions indictable under the law. Forests are life-giving. Save them. A message from the Fire Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force and the Caribbean Open Trade Support.
Breaking barriers. Going beyond the ordinary. Examining the stories beyond what meets the eyes. GBN gets to the meat of the matter. Join us on GBN Television, Classic Radio, gbn.gd, or on Facebook via your smartphones and other devices. We take you beyond the headlines every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. We are GBN, rated number 1.
Welcome back to the Mid-Morning Buzz. Of course, we'll have to continue our discussions with Heritage. Well, they'll be here next Thursday, I believe. Sometime during the week. We're going to tell you more about that. So, just looking on the news feeds across the world, everyone, all borders are getting very, very, very concerned about the coronavirus. And the WHO has just said that no country should assume that it will not get cases. No country should assume it will not get cases. And I guess that statement is being made against a backdrop that we're now starting to see deaths and cases multiply outside of China. So let's keep our eyes and ears open, do what we need to do in terms of hygiene and all of that. And let us be mindful that it is non-partisan, it is non-sectoral, it is cross borders, it is everywhere. So let's, as much as we can find out and know, and as much as our officials can do as well, in terms of educating, and we taking care of ourselves too. No one is safe. That's basically what the World Health Organization is saying.
When you feel left behind, caught up in mental slavery.
Anyway, folks, we gotta leave you now. That's it for the Mid-Morning Buzz for today. Well, the second hour, we joined you on GBN Television and on